Newsmax made the mistake of inviting on the My Pillow lunatic to talk about his Twitter ban, and the segment went off the rails because he kept coming back to a topic that you're not allowed to touch on Newsmax anymore. So let's watch, and I'll explain how and why this all occurred.
So what happened? What happened with your Twitter account and the company page?
Well, first mine was taken down because we have all the election fraud with these Dominion machines. We have 100% proof. And then when they took it down about 3 weeks ago, and then when I put it back up, my personal, it was a
Mike, thank you very much. Mike, you're talking about machines that we at Newsmax have not been able to verify any of those kinds of allegations. We just want to let people know that there's nothing substantive that we've seen. And let me read you something there. While there were some clear evidence of some cases of vote fraud and election irregularities, the election results in every state were certified, and Newsmax accepts the results as legal and final. The courts have also supported that view. So we wanted to talk to you about canceling culture, if you will. We don't want to relitigate the allegations that you're making, Mike, because we understand where you are. So let me ask you this. Do you think that this should be temporary because it appears to be permanent? Could you make an argument that it is temporary?
What?
Could you make an argument that this could be a temporary banning rather than permanent?
No, I want it to be a permanent because you know what? They did this because I'm revealing all the evidence on Friday of all the election fraud with these machines. So I'm sorry if you think it's not
Mike,
it's real.
Can I ask our producers, can we get out of here, please? I don't want to have to keep going over this.
Actually,
we at Newsmax have not been able to verify any of those allegations that you're...
Mike, hold on a second. Everybody hold on a second. Mike, hold on 1 second. Let's talk a little bit about just what is happening overall in terms of censorship.
Trying to cancel out my company and myself in this country. It's cancel culture.
One of the hosts stormed off. He stormed off. That was glorious. So I don't know. I've never seen that guy before. Not that I watch Newsmax all the time. I don't. But I've never seen that guy before, which leads me to believe he might be like a higher up. He might be part of management on top of being some sort of on-air personality. And he stormed off there. Now, here's why that got so contentious. It's not that the Newsmax hosts, don't either agree with the fraudulent election conspiracy theories or are sympathetic to the fraudulent election conspiracy theories. Many of them are. But you have the company, Dominion, has been waging lawsuits left and right on all the people who are making these bogus, insane claims. By the way, the main claim is that Venezuela and a bunch of communists rigged the election in favor of Joe Biden. Funniest thing I've ever heard. Most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. So Dominion realizes, oh my God, we have cases for libel and slander and defamation all over the place. And even though it's notoriously difficult to prove libel and slander and defamation, they might actually win some of these cases because the claims are so bogus and so over the top and there's zero evidence and these people do have malicious intent when they bring those things up. So they've been waging these lawsuits everywhere. Newsmax is one of the outlets that got one of these lawsuits. And so what they did is, to avoid this going further, they've done this a number of times now, and we actually covered the original segment on air. They read a statement directly from Dominion. And the statement is basically like, hey, listen, there's no evidence for any of this stuff. So we don't stand by this. We can't say any of this stuff with certainty. It's untrue. 60 court cases or more have proven that the election was indeed not rigged, yada, yada, yada. And so they've now read that on air a number of times. They know that if somebody brings up on their airwaves that conspiracy, the court case is going to go further. Whatever sort of settlement or deal they reached where they have to correct the record and there is no financial penalty, they know there might be a financial penalty if they continue to allow these conspiracy theories on their airwaves. So that's why when the My Pillow guy brings it up, hey, that's why I got banned from Twitter because I was going to prove that the election was fraudulent. They immediately are like, no, but no, don't say that. Don't say that. We invited you on to talk about Twitter. Now talk about Twitter. Talk about cancel. The guy says canceling culture, whatever the fuck it is. He said. You could tell he's not extremely online like a lot of the other people who usually we cover on this show. But He's like, talk about the canceling culture. Talk about how it's bad when they kick people off of Twitter and whatnot. They wanted to limit the segment to just that, but the MyPillow guy is a total loose cannon, so he couldn't help but bring up the fraudulent election stuff. And he says, well, that's why I was kicked off, is because I was going to blow the lid off the election. Sure you were, son. Sure you were. By the way, this is a guy who has claimed that God chose Donald Trump to be president for 8 years. Well, how you like them apples? Seems like God, it was a swing and a miss. Because he got 4. So, I mean, the guy is certifiably out of his mind, this guy. So, they brought him on, and I would say to them, what the fuck did you expect to happen? What did you expect to happen? You thought you were going to keep this guy on message? You thought you were going to keep him, on a narrow topic that you laid out beforehand? Don't be ridiculous. So, anyway, they got what's coming to them. I love how the guy was panicking frantically to try to say, no, we don't stand by any of this. We can't verify any of this. And the other thing I love is, this happens sometimes with these appearances. Sometimes one mic is favored over another mic where it's way louder. And usually it's not done on purpose. It's just the nature of like the various audio equipment that they're using. So every time the host talked, it was clearly louder than the MyPillow guy, and the MyPillow guy went on this long rant, and you didn't hear a goddamn word of it because the other guy was trying desperately to sound professional and keep it on script. And clearly he had enough, because at some point he was just like, he just walked off set. So anything to avoid that lawsuit. Newsmax probably knows, One American News Network probably knows. If they exhaust that path any further, they could get sued out of existence. So what you're seeing there is a network fighting to basically stay on air and continue to exist. They don't want the MyPillow idiot to drag them down because he can't let go of his insane conspiracies. So in a weird way, I guess I come full circle and I say, go MyPillow guy, because Newsmax and One American News Network are definitely poisonous and toxic to the national discourse. That doesn't mean they should be banned. That doesn't mean the principle of free speech doesn't apply. Of course it does. But if it just so happens that one of them happens to go out of business, let's just say I'm not going to shed a tear